Hey there, I'm Kat and this is Brews and Reviews. Today I'm going to bring you a very late August 2018 wrap-up because, excuse you, I was away for the end part of August, as you can tell by any of the holiday reviews that I did, and I really just haven't had a time to do any filming. So, filming! Yay! Even if it's really late. So I'm just going to get straight into this because I read a lot of books in August and, you know, I want to talk about them. So the first book that I read this month was part of Booktubeathon. I can't remember what challenge it was because that was like a month ago and my memory is like a sieve. Anyway, the book that I read was called Flow by Kennedy Ryan, and I actually really enjoyed this book. It was really... Okay, so I wasn't really sure if I was going to enjoy the book because it's about a girl, a guy. The girl goes to visit her brother to try and sort of make amends because there was like a family feud sort of thing, and the brother's friend and she sort of, you know, get a bit friendly. And you know what? The thing that I really liked about this book was the banter back and forth and the things that they said to each other. It just felt like really well done. And then the end happened, and I didn't really like the end, but I don't know, I kind of feel like I'd read the next one, but the end still really annoyed me, so I'm not gonna say why, but if you've read it, then you'll know. The next book that I read this month was also part of Booktubeathon, and that was Nimona by Noelle Stevenson. So Nimona is a graphic novel, and it's about a shape-shifting girl who decides that she wants to become a villain's sidekick, and there's just like crazy stuff that goes down, and it's just so enjoyable, and all of the characters, I just really like them. So Nimona herself as a character is so funny and she's so strong, and then you have these dark moments with her and you really feel for her, and I just really like it. Plus I also like Lord Blackheart and Sir Goldenloin. I just think that the whole thing is pretty cute. It's a very cute graphic novel, to be honest, and I would recommend this to anyone who likes fantasy and graphic novels and a bit of wit. And the last book that I read for Booktubeathon, yes, shamefully I only read 3 books for Booktubeathon, but it was a really busy week and I had a lot going on, so 3 books is fine.
I'm fine!
It's better than nothing, hey? Anyway, the last book that I read for Booktubeathon is Acting Up by Melissa Nathan. Now, I've previously talked about this book before. It is a Pride and Prejudice retelling, and okay, I liked it a lot more the last time I read it. I should have left it alone. I shouldn't have reread it. I am painfully aware of that now. I just kind of thought that this was meh. So there was a lot of like shaming of other women and like their choices. I mean, like, don't shame on choices and things like that. People can do whatever they want to do. Also, there was a whole lot of, I'm curvy, I like chocolate, and that's what makes me different. And I just didn't find that it fit as well as younger me thought, so I should have really left this to younger me. I think my reading tastes are more mature than this, and not the sort of... Maybe it's just because I don't really read chick lit, and I just didn't really get into it. So I should have left it alone. It kind of put me in a bit of a slump. So next up we have an audiobook that I listened to, and that is Not Your Sidekick by C.B. Lee. I actually read Not Your Sidekick and Not Your Villain in this month. I really, really love these 2 books. There's definitely going to be a third one, and I really can't wait to read it because it's just going to be so good. This book is set in a future where things have gone down and people have superpowers. The main character is Asian American and she is also bisexual. The main character of the second book is a trans character called Bells. Now, okay, just so much love, so much inclusion. I'm only going to talk about the first book right now because I did a brief review of Not Your Villain in my mini holiday reviews, so if you want to check that out, please do. But Not Your Sidekick was a really great book for me to read because it was so cute and I felt so represented in that book, and I was like, That's amazing. This is just this sort of feeling where you just sort of like, oh no wait, that person gets it sort of thing, and it's really nice to read. And honestly, if you want a really cute FF romance, read it. Read that book right now. Read the shit right out of that book. I cannot recommend it enough. It's so cute, and sure, the story is a little bit predictable, I will give it that. But it's so damn cute, I really don't care, and I just loved it. So, if I didn't get that across right, please read that book, because it was so good. So good. Okay, so I had to put my coffee down for this one because we're about to take a foray into the dark shelf. As I mentioned in my wrap-up last month, I have been trying to get through the dark shelf. The dark shelf is basically a shelf full of black books which are erotic literature. And I've been trying to clear space on my shelf because they just sort of sat there. I kind of bought them when the craze of 50 Shades happened, and I've never read them. So I'm trying to clear space by reading my way through the black dark shelf. So I read 3 of these books this month. Yes, I can get to 3, but my fingers do not want to cooperate. But the first one of these books that I read was Because You're Mine by Beth Kerry. Now, okay, this book was one of 4 that randomly got chosen to me by one of my very good friends, and he was just like, read this one, because he knows I'm working my way through all those lists. Anyway, this one, so it's about a painter and a CEO who sort of like believes in her art, but I mean really he believes in her badonk-a-donk. Yeah. It's one of those that's very, very close to 50 Shades, and there's like a whole lot of not really consensual things that go on, and I didn't really like it because it was a bit dodgy. And I just really massively hate people that do things like shame people for not knowing things, or like virgin shame, or you know, when they try to do something nice to tell them that you hate them because you're an asshole. I don't know. The main guy in this book was like not a very nice guy, as seems to be a trend in some of these CEO loves virgin type erotica things. Yeah, so bit of a flop really, but I know that I can get this thing off my shelf now. Next up, we have one that I picked up on a whim because it was really thin, and I thought, you know, I can get another book in before, you know, I do anything else. Mistakes were made. So this one is called Dark Secret by Marina Anderson. Okay, literally the worst book I've read this month. The worst. Okay, so this one gets, would have negative stars if I could give negative stars, because it is like, holy shit, what is that? It's about a woman who decides to become like a receptionist for a famous actress and director couple, and actually what they're doing is they're filming her and trying to get her to sleep with the actress's brother. Oh, but actually the actress's brother is sleeping with the actress. Yes, incest, like, and then the director guy is like, Cooper, please don't. I had to grab the cat because he is mental. Anyway, so the director then starts sleeping with the main character, Harriet, and they're all trying to sleep with each other, and they're like, hey look, this brother sister, they're having sex, and he's like, I'm gonna make a film out of this. And then they all have an orgy at the end, and then she realizes that she was on like the inspiration for this weird film the entire time, and I'm just so confused. And like, why do people think that non-consensual things are sexy? They're not. Like, I know what you're trying to go for, but you're wrong. Please stop. Also incest. Exactly. So last but not least, we have 12 Shades of Surrender Undone by various artists. It's actually a collection of 6 short stories by erotic authors. Fine, they're alright, like a bit weird. The first couple were, particularly the one about a gay guy and his straight female friend, and they make a pact that we're gonna have sex, I bet you couldn't make me, you know, get off, and like, it's really weird. The later ones are actually quite good, quite well written. And yeah. At least I got out of this collection of short stories that I really don't like one of the authors in here, and I have a book by that person, so I could just throw that right in the bin. Throw it in the bin. And that is Megan Hart, I think. I just really didn't gel with that story, and I'm just like, I'm not wasting my time reading that one because it didn't do anything. And now we're moving into the realms of the books that I read on holiday, so I'm not going to do like a full wrap up of these because you can actually just go and watch the teeny tiny reviews that I did for every single one of these. The first one of those being Ink and Bone by Rachel Caine. Now, this book is about the Great Library of Alexandria, if it hadn't been destroyed, and the world has sort of developed where knowledge is being held by the Great Library, and sort of like spoon-fed to people. Instead of governments, really, you have the library, and even the military works for the library. There is alchemy in this book, and there is a sense of seeking knowledge, and it is so nice. A male main character called Jess, who comes from a family of book smugglers, and he's on a journey to become a librarian, or, you know, he wants to work in the library. You sort of follow his journey and the journey of the other people who he encounters. There's a lot of different nationalities there. The smartest character, as she is introduced in this, is actually an Arabic girl who wears a hijab, so if you're looking for representation, this is a really good one to check out. There's also a bit of romance in this, and it was really cute, and I was like, yay, because it got confirmed near the end. It's like hinted at, and then it's like, yay! I'm so glad, because I really wanted those two characters to actually be a thing, and I'm glad it was. So I really want to pick up the next one for this. I'm going to find it somewhere. This was dead cheap and I bought it like 5 years ago, but I'm going to find the sequel somewhere. Right, then I read The Darkest Minds by Alexandra Bracken. Did not enjoy. Sorry guys, I really wanted to enjoy it, but I didn't. I just kind of felt like, for me, the building of a world is really important, and I just didn't feel like there was any like background to this world. It was like, oh, this thing happened, live with it. I honestly think that was what it felt like to me. A lot of the time was spent on the road, having some sort of impossible adventure. I just didn't enjoy it. My main character was Zoo, and she didn't say a word. She was silent the entire time. So I don't know if that says anything. I didn't mind the characters, I just didn't connect to any of them, so I just found it was a bit, probably not going to read the next one. I wish I'd liked it, because, you know, it's so hyped up on BookTube, and I just wish I'd enjoyed it, but I didn't, so what are you going to do? Can't like them all. So next up we have the chunkiest book that I took on holiday with me, and that is Tales of the Shadowhunter Academy by Cassandra Clare, Sarah Reese Brennan, Maureen Johnson, and Robert Wasserman. I wasn't going to remember those, let's be real. Okay, so this is a collection of short stories that follows a certain character from the Mortal Instruments. I'm not going to say who because I don't want to spoil anything in case you've not read the Mortal Instruments yet. Or finished it, as I hadn't, and then someone spoiled me, and I was very cross about it, let me tell you. So, this book follows that character and their journey following the Mortal Instruments. Just, I mean, you know, if you've read it, you know, and if you haven't read it, then you don't want to know, trust me. Kind of thought a lot of these were a bit pointless. It was okay, it was an easy read. Some of them were cute, some of them were alright. I still love Sizzy. But, yeah, and I love Magnus, and I really, turns out, actually, from reading this, it turns out I'm just way more interested in Downworlders than I am in any of the Shadowhunters. I find the Shadowhunters really obnoxious the entire time, and I'm like, Also less Clary, less Jace, please, 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 please. Next up, I read a book called The Survival Game by Nikki Singer, and this book was set in a kind of apocalyptic world where climate change has happened, and everything that is in the equator is pretty much inhabitable. It's a dust land, people getting scorched, and it's not a good time. So everybody is going north of the equator, and you follow the main character Mary, and she's a native of Scotland, even though during the time that the crisis happened she was in the Sudan. I think she was in the Sudan? Anyway, she was there with her parents, and it's basically her journey back up to Scotland, and flashbacks to when she was further south. She encounters a 5-6-ish-year-old boy who doesn't say a word, and his caregiver immediately dies as soon as she meets them, and they sort of journey together, and it's really interesting the sort of way that the story plays out. I say more about this in my review, but I really think that the main character might be autistic, and the story is so much better if that is the case. If it isn't the case, then the main character makes some really odd decisions. I definitely think she might be on the spectrum, and, you know, maybe read it and let me know what you think, because it is interesting. It was an interesting book, so I enjoyed it. It was quite short, and, you know, it was enjoyable for the most part. Next up is a book that I read and reviewed, and probably I'm going to go into slightly more detail because I reviewed it on the beach and you couldn't hear me because waves. And that is Bleed For Me by Michael Robothom. So this book is a serial killer type detective-y one, except it's not a detective, he's just like a psychiatrist that happens to know somebody involved in this. Basically what happens is a girl who is his daughter's best friend goes home to her house one day and her dad's been murdered. She is the prime suspect and they have to find out what's going on. I don't really want to say much more about it because part of the joy of this one was unraveling it. It was really well written, because I write rabbits. It was really well written, and I actually really liked how the story unfolded itself and was constructed, because it wasn't really predictable. It kept me on edge, and things happened that I was like, oh, okay. But things happened and I was like, oh, okay. I wish that hadn't happened. But it's a very interesting book. It's dark, I will say that. If you're going into this, then please do be prepared for it to be dark and quite nasty at times. It's a darker side of things, but I did really enjoy it, and I enjoyed the characters. The main character in this book actually has Parkinson's disease, and he calls his disease Mr. Parkinson, so anytime something happens, like he loses, like one of his legs locks up or something, then he'll say, oh, Mr. Parkinson's got hold of my leg again and I can't control it, or something like that. It's really interesting thought process and attitude towards the disease, so I really like that representation in this book as well. It's time for my favourite book of this month, Illuminae by Amie Kaufman and J. Kristoff. Holy fuck, you guys! Why didn't anyone tell me? I mean, okay, I have been called out. Happy Elephant Books did tell me, he told me, and I know he told me, but I didn't listen, and why am I a fool? Because this book, I fucking love this book. This book is a sci-fi told in an epistolary format, which means that it's told in letters or emails, correspondence, files that were found, even like ship database sort of things, and it's really interesting. We start off on a planet being attacked by a corporation, literally people dying, getting blown up, all these bad things, and they are fleeing from this corporation. 3 ships manage to escape. They end up in space, trying to get back to the nearest spaceport so they can get to safety. Now, at first, I gotta say, I was a bit like, on the main characters, because it was a little bit like YA teen love story goes wrong. And then we got to the Copernicus incident, and I'm just gonna say, yes. I'm sorry, like, you know when you run out of words because you really enjoyed something so much? I don't want to say more about the Copernicus incident or anything that followed, but it really had me and really invested me, and everything that I didn't really know what I thought this book was going to be, but it surpassed everything that I thought, and I just kept going, oh my god, this is so good, and like by the end of it my family were like, shut up, just read your book and then just be quiet, Catherine. Probably drove everyone a little bit nuts when I was saying that how fantastic this book was. I really enjoyed it. I love this sort of space adventure, and I think that there's just enough room in between the different parts of the narrative, like the logs and things, to keep your imagination going. It was just great. I can't recommend this book enough. If you've not picked it up yet, like I foolishly had not, please do, because it's so worth it and you won't regret it. I don't think you'll regret it. If you regret it, then I'm sorry. It was so good. This has become one of my favourites of the year, and I need the next ones immediately. So for the films that I watched in August, very, very quickly, I watched Ant-Man and the Wasp, which I thought was pretty good. It was alright. It was funny as the original, and you know, it did things that you'd expect Ant-Man and the Wasp to do. I quite enjoyed all of the characters and where it went with it. I had a little bit of trouble with the cutscene at the end, just because I wasn't really sure that that was believable, that people would be doing that specific thing at that specific time. The timelines don't coincide with each other. Just saying. If you enjoyed the first Ant-Man film, then you're probably going to enjoy this one. It was funny. It was, you know, it made me laugh out loud a lot, so that's always good. The second film that I watched was The Meg. Giant shark gonna eat ya. Giant shark gonna eat ya. It was a bit of a trash film. It knew it was trash. It really did. It was like, oh, how you die? Evolution! It just was terrible. Like, the lines in it, the people, like, such trash. If you want a terrible shark movie, please watch The Meg. You'll enjoy it. It was terrible. Terrible, terrible. That's all I went to see in the cinema. So, you know, this is this wrap up for August done. So if you've read any of these books and you have any thoughts on them, please leave them down below. If you like this video, please leave a like, comment, subscribe, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye!